Okay, I'm just gonna. Oh, do I want to do this? There's no going back if I say everything. I almost got trafficked. I almost got killed. Gets in my car and she's like, "Go, go, go!" And I was like, "Okay, like, fuck." And so I start driving. I'm like, "What just happened?" Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Boy, are y'all in for a treat today. Hold on, let me make sure this is. We have a lot to get into. First things first, I'm kind of giving y'all like a whole setup since we last spoke. So I want to have a cute background, but that's just like not my living environment right now. I try to make this room as cute as I can. My bed is not made. Mind your business. If it's not you sleeping in it, why are you concerned? Thank you. I'm about to tell y'all about story time in Denver and how I almost got trafficked, almost got killed. You know, nothing serious. Where do I start? I kind of told y'all like the rundown in my last video, but for those that haven't seen that, hold on. Girl. Okay, I don't even know if that changed anything. I'm gonna dive into it. Literally like day by day, what was going on, how things happen. I've literally never told this story to anyone besides my best friend and my mother. Y'all are in for a treat. That's all I'm gonna say. I really want to put these back on so I can see some shit, but y'all are gonna be looking at the reflection of my glasses this whole time. Okay, so first things first. I went to Denver in January of 2021, and literally upon arrival, I was immediately disappointed because for whatever reason, I thought Denver was going to be like massive, and it's really not. Like the downtown is not that big. It's just hella people. It's so overpopulated, and I'm not sure why, because me personally, like I just did not see the hype behind Denver. I honestly, like, I couldn't afford to live there for one, but even if I had the financial capacity to live there, it would not have been worth it to me. Now, from January through April, we were living on the University of Colorado or University of Denver. I don't know. There were so many out there. We were living on a college campus, in a dorm room. It was like apartment style living. I had a suite mate. I had my own room. We both had emotional support animals. I had a dog, she had a cat, and they kind of had a love-hate relationship, but they became besties or whatever towards the end. But anyways, so my internship, I was interning at a place called, so it was just, it was cool. And then some shit happened. So my supervisor, this is a nonprofit, by the way, not that like really changes anything, but it was a nonprofit organization, and my supervisor, she was really cool. She had to step back as like the supervisor role for all the interns because it was me and two other girls that were interning at the same time. And so she kind of had to step back from that role because she obviously had a lot going on. And so we were given a new supervisor. We're gonna call her Shirley. No. Let's call her, damn, what should I call her? I think I'm thinking too deep about this. Let's call her Amanda. Okay. So Amanda was our new supervisor. And I still, even after that transition, hadn't really like interacted with her much because it was just a very odd transition. And I was still working on the project that I was given from the supervisor prior. So there was, at that point, like, I don't know how to explain it, but there was really no serious need for me to interact with her. And then one day, one of the other girls that works there was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go have you help out Amanda." Is that what we decided to call her? I already forgot. We're gonna call her Amanda if I didn't already say that. She was like, "Hey, I need you to come help out Amanda. We've got a lot of stuff that we need to get done. So you're gonna sit with her all day and work on this stuff." And it was me, her, and the coworker that came to get me. We were all sitting in her office with like paper everywhere working on shit. During that time, you know me, I like to pry. I don't like surface level conversation. Like, I want to know what you got going on. And this is an organization that was not only founded by lifers, because the three founders, the three founding members, had all been in prison together serving life sentences. They all got out for various reasons, whether it was they were granted clemency or just various reasons. And most of the people employed there were also had served time at some point in time. Employed there were also had served time at some point in time. And I knew that, and I had kind of already learned everybody else's stories, but I wanted to know her story. And so I started asking her questions, you know, and we were kind of talking, and I kind of told her like my background. And then I asked her if she had done time, and she was like, well, I have, but that's a story for another day. And she's like, you know what, no one has ever asked me that question. And she was like stunned, and I felt like me asking that question did something to her, because I don't think anyone had ever taken the time to ask her questions about herself. And then I think that moment right there kind of made her view me in a different light, because then I felt like we were cool. Still at a professional level. Because I didn't last long. Her and I got attached pretty quickly. Then one day, we are gonna say his name is we're gonna say his name is Steven. So one day, Steven, who is a pretty important person in the organization, by the way, I don't want to I feel like I have to give it context, but I'm gonna have to block the people that were in Denver with me, because then they already know all my business, but fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. He was one of the founders of the organization, and this was my supervisor. One day, Steven comes into Amanda's office, and it's just me and her in there, and he starts asking about some vouchers, right? Nothing, it's just all professional. And pause, let me rewind. Steven had come into the office before, like into the building, I mean, and I had been with Amanda while Steven had been walking around, and I could immediately sense energy between them, and like it was off. I want to know, like, what's the story there? Okay, do y'all see the fly? But I could tell there was something there. She will always make comments about like, oh, he does too much, and he thinks he's so this and so that, and da da da. And she just seemed, again, I was like, something happened with these two, because it's some weird shit going on, right? So one day when I was sitting in Amanda's office, Steven walks in, he starts asking about vouchers. Amanda was like, we ain't got no vouchers at this time, but there might be more coming in. And he goes, okay, well, I'm going to give you my number, so like you can call me when we get more vouchers, because he worked, I don't want to, fuck. Okay, I'm just gonna, do I want to do this? There's no going back if I say everything. Fuck it. He worked at the location that was downtown, because I was working at the location that was in Aurora, because that was like their, I don't want to say headquarters, because that makes it sounds, but it was like their main building. Like if people, I don't know words. That's where people would go. That was like their main building. And then they had another building, another office downtown, but it was on a smaller scale, because I don't think a lot of people knew that it existed. And plus, most of the resources and things that we offered, you would have to go to the Aurora office to get. But he worked downtown, okay? This is important to remember, because this is going to come up later in the story, which, by the way, we're already 15 minutes in. I might try to cut this down, but this is literally, this is like the first couple weeks out of like a 4 or 5 month situation. He worked downtown. They exchanged numbers. Steven told Amanda, was like, hey, call me to make sure you have the right number. She calls him while they're standing right there. I'm sitting here like, this is just a normal interaction. But I could tell again that the energy, as soon as he had walked in the office, I'm like, oh shit. Something's about to go down. And so she called him. The phone wasn't ringing. Or maybe he called her and her phone wasn't ringing. And he was like, well, you gave me the wrong number. She was like, no, this is my number. And then he goes, well, do you have my number blocked? Okay, this fly needs to go find some business. What is that? Ew! She had his number blocked. Let's just cut to the chase. And he made a comment and was like, oh, maybe it's because of that one time. And then immediately it was awkward. And I'm like, it was in that moment that I knew what I was feeling, like the energy that I was sensing between them was very much there, and I was correct because something had definitely gone down between the founder and my supervisor. And I'm sitting there as an intern, like eating my fucking popcorn, like what the fuck is going down? So he left the office, and I look at her like, I'm gonna need you to explain what the fuck just happened. She said when she first started that he tried to hit her up and that they had talked for a couple days and then something went wrong, which to this day I don't know what it was. I kind of do, but I think that there was maybe more to the story than what she had told me. And somehow his number got blocked. I was just like, okay, this is the start to something, because it was just all very odd. And then somewhere within the next couple of days, they had basically started texting again. And I just want y'all, this is something that's very important to the story. Amanda had been in a relationship with, what are we going to call her? With Val. I'm trying to keep all the letters, their first letters, the same as like their actual names. So, Amanda had been in a relationship with Val for like years, like literally like 20 plus years. They had been in this relationship, and they're both women, by the way, if that didn't come across as clear. Steven had been in a relationship with Tanya. Okay. Oh wait, no, we can't use Tanya. With Tamara. Okay. So Steven and Tamara were married and had been married, like knew each other for decades and decades and decades. I don't know how long they had actually been married, but basically he tried to sell it as like they were on the verge of getting a divorce, but she had some health issues going on, and so he felt bad leaving her at that point in time because she would have really needed him and his support. But yet now Amanda and Steven started texting back and forth. And then the texting back and forth very quickly became like texting back and forth, if you know what I'm saying. So this was all progressing. And then suddenly Steven, who works downtown, right? He works downtown, was coming to Aurora way more frequently than he was prior to this conversation that had taken place in their office. And then one day, I gotta think of, because listen, y'all, there is so much shit that happened. I have to remember how it happened in sequential order. So one day, she told me that he was wanting to meet during the lunch hour, and she wanted me to cover for her. Now, again, please remember, this is my supervisor and the founder of the organization. Somehow me, the intern, got put into the middle of this. And this is just the start, guys. This is literally just the start. So she wanted me to cover for her while she left during lunch to go meet with old dude. She didn't know what they was doing, but he told her that he was going to be parked. There was a hotel right next to the building, and he told her to meet her over there in the parking lot because that was where he was parked. So she didn't know if they was going to be boom-ba-doom-ba-doom-ping or what was going on. This girl had a broken ankle and could barely walk, so I had to help her walk outside. Imagine leaving the building with your supervisor, and we gonna call the front desk lady. What we gonna call her? We gonna call her Patty. So Miss Patty was watching us walk out the front door. Keep in mind, Amanda has a broken ankle. So when I came back in by myself, Miss Patty was like, what the fuck? Where did Amanda go? And I was like, oh, she went with Val for lunch. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm trying to keep my composure because I cannot believe the shit that just happened. And keep in mind, I had to walk her out there, but then I had to hide because Amanda didn't want Steven to know that I knew that this had been going on. So I was trying to be low key about it and hide. She came back flustered as fuck, and they had done stuff, but I don't think they had done too much, but they definitely was... Oh, am I sure I want to tell this story, y'all? This is a lot, and this is literally like just one step of everything. So that happened, and then I feel like that was like the tipping point right there, because then all of a sudden it was just a snowball effect. So then we go to work the next day. Everything is peachy clean. You know, there's still like, we're talking about the situation because she was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm in a relationship, but I like him. And I was like, oh boy, this is gonna get messy really fucking quickly. And boy, was I right. Then the next day, her and I decided that the place where I had gotten my piercings and stuff at, because as you can see, I'm like iced out or whatever. They were having like a sale where you could get a piercing. I think they were like $20. And so she was like, oh, I want to get a piercing too. And I was like, okay, well, like, you want to go together? Which, again, intern, supervisor, probably shouldn't have done that. She was like, oh yeah, that would be great, because then I can tell Val that I'm going to get a piercing with me. And then after we get the piercing, me and Steven can link up. And I was like, okay, this is so messy. But then I was also like, how are we going to do that? If he picks you up from the shop, he knows my car because I have Iowa license plate. So my car is very identifiable. Is that a word? He's going to know that I'm here, which then means he's going to know that you're leaving with him because I know his car. You see the issue here? We get the piercings. We go back out to the car. Keep in mind, during this whole time, like, we had also started smoking together, because me personally, I was 420 friendly when I was in Denver. I most definitely was. It was pretty much a daily occurrence for me. It was a daily occurrence for me. So we would smoke together and then just like hang out and do whatever. He pulls up right next to my car. And I'm like, okay, well, here we are. This is happening. So it was that night that now he knows that I know. So we're all on the same page at this point. He now knows that I know his business. Oh, God. This is just bad. This is so bad. I think now that I'm like actually telling the story out loud, like the whole story, it makes me realize like how crazy the shit actually is. He now knows that I know, and that's when everything changed, because then I was officially put in the middle of this fucking love octagon. Fuck a triangle, it was a fucking love octagon. No, it deadass was a love octagon, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a love pentagon, bro. I need to chill. So it's a love pentagon. Shit. So following that, there was a lot going on, because now they were both able to openly communicate with me, and he started communicating with me. It was like a team effort. I then became their cover, and it got to the point where Val thought me and Amanda had something going on, because we were hanging out literally every single night, and we definitely did not. But we would literally just smoke, and she would be hanging out with Steven. It got to the point where I started dropping her off at a hotel. There was a hotel that was on the opposite side of the block that the downtown office was on at English. And I would drop her off there, and she still had not told him like the extent of our relationship, like how close we actually were. And I don't know why she was like trying to hide it, but he wanted to know if like we smoked together, and she was like, oh no, we don't smoke. And then one night we pulled up to the hotel, and we pulled up behind his car, and we were smoking, because when we pulled up behind the car, it didn't look like nobody was in the car. Like, looked so empty, and we was sitting in there like hot boxing. This man was in the car the whole time. So now he also knows that we smoke together and get high together. He gets out the car and starts dancing. I cannot believe I'm telling this story. He turns whatever the fuck song he had on, turned it all the way up max volume, gets out of the car and starts dancing in the street. Like, he had been doing, I don't know if he was smoking, drinking, or both, but he was feeling really good. Again, I'm with my supervisor and this is the founder. Like, can we please keep that in check here? Because that's fucking nuts. Let's also keep in mind that he's 50 and she's like mid to up 40s. So these are grown people. These aren't even like people my age. These are grown people, like old enough to be my mother and father. So anyways, I leave. He waves at me and I just so awkwardly drive away because I'm like, what the fuck did I just witness? You know, at this point, they're boom-ba-doop-ba-dooping. They are. Even though she hadn't admitted it to me yet, I knew that, they did. It just, like, became this thing. Like, she would start sneaking around for him, and he would show up at the office, and just, like, every opportunity they could get to be together, they would take that shit. Another day came, and this point, it was still, like, January, February, so it was still snowing and shit, and I don't know if y'all know how Denver winter is, but compared to Iowa, it's somewhat warm. And it will, like, dump snow. Like, we're talking about feet of snow. And then it'll be gone the next day. But this day it has snowed. And she was trying to sneak out. And she didn't want anybody else in the building to know that she was leaving. So we then had to sneak around the back in the snow. And walk through these fucking back-ass woods. So that she could go to the hotel that was next door. I don't think they ever went into the hotel, that hotel. They just would meet over there because she didn't want anyone in the building seeing that she was getting in his car. So they went and did whatever they did. And then this is where shit starts going wrong. Really fucking quickly. Please keep in mind, I told y'all that Val thought me and Amanda were boom-ba-doop-ba-dooping. She ain't like me. One day, and I had never met her. I'd never met Val. One day, when, oh girl, matter of fact, I think this happened actually before she started having those suspicions. It was the day that I had walked her out the front door and tried to hide in the fucking bush to get her to go over to this man with her fucking broken ankle and she had a cane and couldn't walk. She gets over there and then she texts me. She's like, oh my God, I fucking forgot that Val is coming to pick up a house key. And she wasn't there. She was with Steven. So she was like, the key is... She told me where it was at her desk. I had to walk out and give it to Val. Val is scary. She is scary. She is very much giving off very masculine energy. Just like very much like Pitbull energy, bro. Like, don't fuck with me. So I was scared and I was just like, here's the key. And she didn't really say much. She was like, thank you so much for doing this. And I was like, yep. Meanwhile, you're welcome. Anything I can do, I'm here for. So then anyway, so this is when shit goes wrong. Let's go back to the present day now. This is after she had already had her suspicions that me and Amanda were boom-pa-doop-a-dooping. We went to the Jasmine Sullivan concert. Because I mentioned it one day. I'm like, damn, her tickets the prices had gone down. I want to go. And she's like, oh, I was already thinking about going with, I think she might have been like trying to go with family at first. But then they couldn't go. And so she asked Steven if he would go. But keep in mind, I already told her, like, I was going to buy tickets. Which means we would have showed up at the same concert. And it wasn't like a stadium. Like, it was a small venue. So we were going to see each other. And then Miss, what did we call her? Miss Patty? Is that what we called her? The front desk lady? She was also going with her family. So it was just going to be one big reunion. We're like, bro, what are y'all gonna do? Because if Amanda and Steve show up together, Miss Patty gonna be like, bitch, what the fuck is going on? And then there's just me, the intern, here. I'm just here with the founder and my supervisor. I'm just here. It could have got messy really fast. Well, Miss Patty didn't end up going. Thank God. But now it got to the point where I was now stuck going with Amanda and Steve. And what the fuck do I look like? A third wheel, knowing that they want to be all boom-pa-doop-a-dooping and lovey-lovey, kissy-kissy, mwah. I'm not going to stand there and witness that and just be there by myself. This is where they were like, oh, I know just the guy. We're going to go as like a double date type thing. But for me, it would have been a blind date because I had never met the man that they were trying to set me up with. But he also worked downtown at the downtown location. And we're going to call him, I can't call him that. We're gonna call him Lamar. So Lamar was very cute. Y'all have to keep in mind, y'all know black don't crack unless you on crack. So I didn't actually know anyone's age for real. Like, I thought they were a lot younger than they really were. I didn't even know old dude was 50 until I found out. And I also didn't know that she was literally the same age as my mom. And this dude that they were trying to get me to link with, I thought he was like early 30s, which to me, I don't really see the problem in that, but that's just me personally. They was trying to look me up or hook me up with Lamar. That day, keep in mind, Amanda and Steve are setting this up. That's what it was. It was a setup, bro. I literally got set up. I emailed Steve and I'm like, hey, keep in mind, Amanda was telling me to do this. But I went with it because I'm like, this is a good idea, because there was also a job opening at the one downtown, and I was just trying to stay at the company because I loved what they did. I loved the internship. I just loved it. So I'm like, yeah, if I could just stay here and work, I want to. So I was looking at the downtown location because they had a job opening, and the one where I was working didn't. Wanted to do like a tour and see what the office looked like because I had never been down there. But I was also trying to go down there so that I could see Lamar, to see what he looked like in person, because I saw his little picture on a website. And keep in mind, I told you all these people, ex-cons, felons, killers, like they wasn't doing life for no reason. Lamar had been in a gang. He was a Crip at the age of 13. Keep in mind, I didn't know none of this. Not that it would have changed my mind, because let me tell you, the one thing I learned about working there is that even though these people had the past that they did, I didn't know any of that until I was already pretty late into the game, and I had known these people already and I loved them and knew what they were about. It wasn't until afterwards that I found out about their past, which really showed me, like, I want to say people can change, but now I know a lot of their true colors and they really haven't. They just got better at hiding it. But like, people, like, they're people, you know, which kind of sounds probably messed up to say, but like, this dude that was low-key murdering people at one point, he's a pretty cool dude. Like, that was just the reality of working there, is most of them had served time for serious crimes, and now they're just like, they're like normal people. I don't know. Maybe that's just messed up to say, but that was my experience. They set me up with Lamar. I emailed Steven and I'm like, hey, can I come down and do a tour of the downtown location? Because I obviously was trying to kill two birds with one stone. Steven made it very clear that he was just going to give me the job, which honestly, after everything they put me through, I at least deserve that. I wasn't getting paid. That's the craziest part. I wasn't getting paid. This was just my internship, and I was working on and off the clock. So I went down, I sent the email. He was like, yep, you can come down, let's say Friday at 9 a.m. Okay. So then I told Amanda, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be in right away this morning because I'm going to go downtown and do the tour with Steve and hopefully meet Lamar. And she was like, okay, get it, girl. Because keep in mind, this was all to set up so that I had a date to go with to this concert. Man, I'm really about to put my business out there. I'm already 40 minutes in, so I got to tell y'all what happened, but damn, we're getting real close and personal. Like, really close and personal. So I go downtown. I'm down there at 9 a.m. sharp. Steve is not even there. I pull up. The only person in the building is, you guessed it, Lamar. I'm telling y'all, I got set up. I was there. Lamar is cute as fuck. We were hitting it off. We were having a good time. But shit disgusts me now. But he gave me like a little tour of the place, and he made a comment and was like, well, I've heard all about you. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? He was like, we'll talk about it later. Crazy of you to assume that there's gonna be later. The fuck? This is how I know I was getting set up. But I didn't know that until after what I'm about to tell y'all happened. I was already in too deep at that point. He gives me the tour. We went back up to the front and we was just sitting and talking, and I'm like, so can you please explain what you mean you heard about me? And he goes, oh, well, I just heard you're the new cute girl that works at seeing Aurora. And I was like, okay. So that's how I know Steven had been talking to Lamar, because again, they was all setting this up. I was only supposed to be there for a couple hours, but I was there until like 12. Like, I was there for a long ass time. And I had texted Amanda because she was like, are you coming? And I was like, I'm still here. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And we weren't doing, I mean, we were literally just talking. The other staff started rolling up to the front, so we was talking. Guess who still wasn't there? Steven. Even though he was the one that was supposed to be giving me the tour, he was supposed to be doing all this, and he wasn't nowhere to be found. Wasn't nowhere to be found. Finally, keep in mind the tour was at 9. He didn't show up until 10. So I had already been there for a whole hour. This man comes strolling on in the front door and walks right past me. So everybody else is like, Steven, did you forget about your tour? This is what he said verbatim. He said, no, I didn't forget. I know why Kaylee's here. Finally, he calls me back to his office, and he's now describing the job to me and whatever. Keep in mind, it's awkward for me because, like, he knows that I know his business, but we've never been alone. And so it was just like this awkward, like, I know what you do. Like, I know what you've been doing. I know everything. And he knew that I knew everything. And then just the whole him getting out the car dancing, I'm dropping her off at hotels. It was just, it all became so much so quick. And so, yeah, I ended up leaving after that. Went out to Aurora, was catching up Amanda on everything that fucking happened, and explained to her that I got set up. And it wasn't until after, when I had like this whole like fucking what's it called, epiphany, that she knew what was going on. But in the moment, she was like, he did not set, like, you telling me he didn't show up, da da da. Girl, you knew. After we do that, I get to see Aurora. Some shit goes down, and then she's like, he's texting me and telling me that he wants us to both come down there, or that she needs to go down there. So she's like, we left the Aurora location during the work day. I think we left at like 3 o'clock, and they don't close until like 4:35. So we left in the middle of the work day and told everyone that we had to go down there for business purposes. By the time we got down there, after traffic and everything, they had already closed. Lamar was texting me and was like, dude, I gotta go, I gotta leave, I got places to be. And I was like, please just hold on, like, we're coming. Because I was so thirsty, and like, for what? I feel like I need to do a part 2, 3, and 4, because I'm 45 minutes in and I'm still just like at the beginning. We show up, Amanda goes with Steve, I go with Lamar, and we start smoking. And we're just talking, and shit's cool. And then he turns around, like, he whips the car around. Amanda and Steve are now walking to Steve's car because they're about to go their separate ways. Lamar rolls down the window, and this man is just cheesing big as hell. Steven starts laughing because he can see how hard he's cheesing, which again is just so disgusting, bro. I can't wait to get to the end of this story. Amanda was like, are you sure you're okay? And I was like, yep, I'm good, because at that point we really was just, we was kicking it. Then he takes me up to the very top of the parking garage, and keep in mind, it's downtown Denver, and I did end up working down in that office, just not for the company. It was for I just realized that this video was gonna be long as fuck. Okay, I need to pick up the pace. So anyways, we was in the car. We did a little something, but not too much, because I was like, I literally just met you hours ago, and that is not me at all. I don't roll like that. You do you. I don't judge nobody, but for me personally, that ain't me. I ain't never done nothing like that. So I was like, we're not about to do this. I left, I got out of the car. He sent me a picture showing me that he had bought tickets to the concert, because remember, this was all that we were just trying to set up this little thing so that I wasn't third wheeling my supervisor and the founder of my organization. I wasn't just third wheeling them at this concert. Boom, the next day, that's when the concert happens. The night comes, we go to work like normal, because it was on a Friday night. We went to work, did our thing, and then like that afternoon, Lamar texted me and was like, I had something come up, I can't go. I know you fucking lying. So now, after we just did all of that, I'm still gonna end up third wheeling Amanda and Steve. Oh, child. So to keep a long story fucking short, we spent all day trying to plan out how we were going to do this, because obviously at this point Val was thinking me and Amanda were boompa doompa dooping, when really Amanda and Steve was boompa doompa dooping. But Val felt like she wanted, Amanda told Val that she was going to this concert by herself. That don't even fucking make sense. So Val dropped Amanda off because Amanda was gonna come with me, but because of the accusations being made, she didn't want Val to know that we was going to this concert together. Let alone, that's not even with Steven in the equation. It's not me she need to be worried about. Val dropped Amanda off at the concert. I had already been in there. I had been waiting because she was running late. So I had already been waiting. The concert was literally about to start. So she finally gets there. We both looking cute or whatever. Steven still had not pulled up. He was there, but he was trying to find parking. And then he got mad. We got in there. We had gotten a drink. And she has just started performing. And he still was not even in there. And he sent her a text talking about something. I'm not coming in because there's nowhere to park. So instead of being like... Long story short, she literally ditched me. She ditched me. So I was at this. She was like, are you going to leave? I'm like, girl, no. I'm about to watch Jazmine Sullivan perform. Like... Bye. I'll stay here by myself. I don't care. So she left. I stayed for the concert. And then I ended up leaving, getting food down the block, and got in my car and went home. So I get home. The next morning I wake up and I'm like, damn, I wonder, like, I had not heard from her. So I text her and I was like, hey, are you good? Like, what's going on? She calls me at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm an early riser, so I was already awake, but she called me and she was like, you need to get to me right now. And I was like, okay, what happened? Like I'm sitting there like throwing on clothes and trying to hurry up because I could tell it was something serious. And she was like, we fell asleep in the hotel room. I did not go home. I'm like, oh my God. Because now Val for sure knows some shit is going down. So I pull up to the hotel. It's the same hotel this whole time. It's the one that's on the same block as... So I pull up to the hotel. This girl comes walking out of the hotel with last night's clothes on. Hair fucked up. Face fucked up. She still's got fucking heels on with some jeans. Like, literally had her whole outfit on from the night before doing the walk of shame. She gets in my car and she's like, I can't go home because I'm gonna get my ass beat. So we need to go somewhere to give me some clothes. So we drove to the nearest Ross and she got herself an outfit. Was looking raggedy, so she did, because wasn't nothing matching, but she had to make do with what she had. And then we went back to the hotel room and I ended up parking and then going up with her because we were like, we need to figure out what the fuck is going on. Matter of fact, I lied. The concert was on a Thursday night because that Friday we was supposed to go to work, but I didn't go to work because I was up in the hotel room with her, like trying to figure out what she needed, trying to help her through this situation. And while I'm there, I get a phone call from, let's call him Ethan. I get a call from Ethan, who is Amanda's supervisor. And he was like, hey, you want a job here? And today would have been the day. Which it wouldn't have been. He was just being nosy because everyone else in the office had started picking up on how close me and Amanda were getting, and him for sure. And I don't think he liked that. And so the fact that we had both been gone on the same day, he knew something was up. But I didn't answer to him. I answered to Amanda. So he was like, hey, are you coming in today? And I was like, no, I told Amanda that I couldn't come in today because I had to do some stuff for school. And he was like, oh, okay, well, that's just unfortunate because today really would have been the day, you know, for you to do this project for this girl that basically would have determined whether or not I had a job. But I didn't like that bitch. And I certainly was not about to kiss her ass. I'm definitely gonna have to block this because I'm friends with her on Facebook. I was like, well, yeah, sorry, I'm not coming in. Boop, hung up the phone. He was really trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, but you not about to, you called the wrong one. So as soon as he got off the phone with me, he called Amanda. Me and Amanda sitting in the same room. So we're like, what the fuck? So then they had a little conversation. She told him that she had a family situation going on, which I guess is in part true because we came up with a game plan. We sat in that damn hotel room all fucking day trying to figure out what to do next. And then when we left out, Steven was downstairs because he was now back after trying to go do whatever the fuck he did. I don't know what he had been doing all day, but there was like a handoff because I'm like, okay, now you're back, so I'm leaving. You guys do whatever you gotta do. And I left. And then on the way down, when we did like the little handoff, Steven just hugs me and he was like, I think we're on a hug basis now. So I gave him a hug because I think he was like, thank you for taking care of her. But it was just so bizarre because supervisor, founder, intern. The fuck am I doing here? And then I was like, okay, bye guys. I'm gonna head out here. So then I just had the rest of the day off. And then I think her and I linked up again on Saturday. She was like, I need to get to my house before because she had to go to work on Monday. She's like, I need to get to my house so I can at least get some of my things. Like I have to get clothes. I need like shower stuff. I need to go home. So she wanted to go there during the middle of the day while Val was not going to be home. So we pull up to her apartment, which keep in mind, I've been to as well. At this point, I know where everybody lives. I know the hotel. Intern, supervisor, founder. What the fuck? So we pull up and she's like, okay, like if I'm not back in 10 minutes, be concerned. And I'm sitting here like, bitch, what the fuck I'm gonna do? I'm not about to put myself in harm's way. This ain't none of my business. But I was like, okay. So I literally had my phone open and I had it ready to call her and I had it ready to call 911 because I didn't know what one I was gonna have to call first. So I'm sitting there, time's going by. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get worried. I tried to call her, whole time she left her phone in my fucking car. So I can't even call her. I started getting really worried. And I think maybe like 10-15 minutes went by. And then finally I see her out of my side mirror, like sprinting into my car. She gets in my car and she's like, go, go, go. And I was like, okay, like, fuck. And so I start driving. I'm like, what just happened? And she was like, I got upstairs and she had literally had like a garbage bag full of stuff because you could tell she just was like trying to get shit as fast as she could. And she was like, Val left a note on the door that said, if you're here when I get back, you're a dead bitch. Intern, supervisor, founder. Okay. Again, why am I in the middle of this shit? But I'm putting myself in harm's way for this woman who I was really cool with. And again, loyal to a fault. I honestly, for the longest time, was okay with doing it because at that point in time, I thought our, like, I hate to say friendship because it should have never been that. But it was. I thought that was like vice versa. And I was down for her, bro. As you can see, listen, one thing about me, I'm a ride for you. I'm a ride for you. So I'm sitting here helping this girl, sitting in this hotel room, watching her life fall apart and still trying to hold her up with this man who don't even know what the fuck he got going on. He got a wife at home that's fucking health issues and not doing good. And he's sitting here fucking around with... It was just so messy. So she stayed up in that hotel room for a week and he was like, I can't keep paying for this hotel room because it's expensive. It's getting expensive. And he, in the midst of all this, had gotten in a fight with one of the other founders because he went ahead and purchased part of the hotel that they had been staying in with the company's money. Which I later found out is because, well, let's get to that. I'll get to that part next. I think she went home. And her and Val got into it real bad because she came to work the next day and had marks on her body. So she had left the room. I don't recall what happened. All I know is me and Lamar, he called me one night. I think it was the night after the concert was supposed to happen. And he called me. I had just taken my medication for bed, and my medication, I take sleeping aids, and I had just taken them. So I was zonked, like ready to go to bed, and he calls me. It's like 11:30 midnight. And he was like, hey, do you want to meet up? Now, you already know where this is going. Don't nobody call at midnight unless it's for one thing only. I told him that I would have been open with that. This is just so personal. I'm literally putting all of my business out on the streets. Fuck it. Fuck it. I told him that I would have been down for that. But nigga, it's midnight. I go to bed at I was already up late. Usually at that point in time, I had been going to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Because I had to be up hella early to go to work. because it was like 30 minutes away, 30, 40 minutes away. And I was like, God, and he was like, well, do you want to meet up? He was like, tell me now, because I'm like, I'm on my way home, but I can turn around. And this is what was going on in my head. I'm like, bro, I just took my medication, and I'm like, I'm not about this life, but I'm like, you're in Denver, you're 22, like, get it how you live it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this, just do it. Like, you know, what could possibly go wrong? So I did it. I said, okay, I'm coming. He said, okay, I'm going to send you the location. He sent me the location of the hotel. I cannot make this shit up. He sent me the location of this same hotel. And this hotel was nice as fuck. Like, it was super nice. And so I pull up. He has me follow him up to the top floor of the parking garage that we had been at before. And I had to like sneak in because they had them little things that have like the like you have to scan a badge and it'll open. But I had to like hurry up and zoom behind him to get in too, so that I could meet him up at the top. I don't know why the fuck I didn't just park downstairs and hop in his car. I don't fucking know. So we get up to the top floor, then we take the elevator back down, and we walk around the block to this hotel. And I don't know what Lamar knows. I know Lamar is Steven's guy, just like I'm Amanda's girl. But I didn't know that. I didn't know how much he knew. And so we had kind of talked about, like, he kind of mentioned it, and he asked how Amanda was doing. So that told me that he knew what had happened. And I said, you know, like, I'm not going to get into that. I said, I know a lot more than I probably should. And he goes, yeah, me too. So I'm like, okay, so we on the same page. I knew at that moment that he knew everything, and he knew that I knew everything. And then I said something about like the hotel, and he goes, oh yeah, I asked Steven if we could borrow his room for the night. So you telling me we about to boom ba doom ba doom in the same room that Amanda and Steve, mom and dad, have been boom ba doom ba dooming? I felt like, I was like, okay, that's fucked up, right? Like in my head. But again, I just don't know how to get out of a situation like that. I think that's because of my own trauma. I feel like I just have to let it happen. Like I don't feel comfortable saying no, which is like really bad. I'm trying to work through that, but I was already like, we were there. I didn't want to be like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just like went with it. We got up to the room, which I've been in the room, right? So I was just like, this is so weird that I'm here with Lamar, because this was not, I didn't have this on a bingo card. I didn't know that this was this was coming. I thought maybe we were at least gonna have a different room. Shit, I didn't know that we were gonna be in the room. So we get up there, we both take a shower. I don't want to get into that. We boom ba doom ba doom, and it was the most traumatizing, uncomfortable, vulnerable experience I've ever had. I just felt violated, and not because of anything. Well, I felt violated. I obviously, like, in the moment I consented to everything, but there was just so much that I didn't know until after the fact, which then made me feel like just so violated in so many ways. I don't even know that I want to post this. This is just too much. I think this is too much. I'm putting too much out there. Fuck. Okay, well, we're just going to keep it at that. We did that, and then it was what it was. And then I went back home, went to bed, came to work the next morning, and told Amanda everything. And I told her, well, no, as that night was going on, I texted her, and I'm like, bro, we're being played. Y'all, it is literally hours later.